Vehicles over the age of 25 years or 20 years, yes, there is high individual risk, but depending on the vehicle, often they're only driven limited distances and in metropolitan areas. So I'm answering your question to say that those issues don't always come onto the radar of the Road Safety Council. If we're asked, the council might provide some advice to the department.
That was the point I was trying to get at, so thank you very much for that.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Show and Shine. I'm GT Sam, and we're nearly there. And by nearly there, I mean the restrictions are easing, we're starting to see shows get launched, and we're hearing a lot of talk about things that are coming up very shortly. This is probably going to be a fairly short one today. There's not a whole lot coming up. I mean, it's not like things are back to normal and there's 5 events on every weekend. Not to mention we're in the middle of winter. It's, well, not at the moment, but it was rainy and stormy outside this morning, and it's probably going to be a little bit more rain tomorrow. Some of the more traditional classic vehicle show and shine stuff, we've got no word on that. So Father's Day Hot Rod Show and the York Motor Festival, things like that, we're still waiting to hear. I don't know if the organisers are planning to run those. Obviously it's a bit hard to move Father's Day, but certainly the York Motor Festival could be moved. Over the next month, there's about 6 or 8 cruises that have been scheduled. Now, obviously cruises can happen at the last minute, and not every cruise is posted on a public place. So these are just the ones that are publicly advertised and attendable by anyone. So very first up there, it's 28th of June. It's the Classic Cars and Coffee on the Road. I think I'll probably be going to that. I'll be paying my $10 to the prostate cancer charity, and that should be a good one. They're usually good shows statically. Having it on the roads just adds a little bit of flair. I'll probably get the camera out and film a little bit of it to show everyone. It's not normal yet, but there's still things happening. Notice that WA Sporting Car Club has posted up a couple of events as well. So they've got a race meet on the 20th of June, or a weekend of the 20th of June. And roll racing's making a return again on the 15th of August. Now, I haven't got confirmation that is definitely happening. Looks like that event's been posted for a little while on their site, but hopefully, fingers crossed, that's going to go ahead because roll racing in Perth it's always a great fun night. Things are happening in Perth, things are happening for the motoring scene. Like I said, there's cruises happening now, and if you like cruises, then certainly keep your ear out, because there's cruises being posted now. There's things happening again in Perth, and we're starting to see that return to normal life. Obviously a lot of people have completely forgotten or thrown to the wind the social distancing guidelines in shopping centres and things like that. So hopefully we don't have a second wave of an outbreak and we don't start to see cases going up again because of it. Hopefully, we've passed the danger point, and we start to see restrictions ease further in the coming month, and we can start to see larger gatherings of 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people again by the end of the year. That's the best case scenario. The only other thing that I really thought would be worthwhile raising today is that there's a couple of different groups working on a few different things that are related to the motoring scene here in WA. So the first of that is the Concessions for Classics. Now, you might have seen the government put up a big thing that they're introducing a new scheme, a new proposal for a vehicle concession for modified vehicles that aren't driven every day. Now, every other state in Australia has something to this nature, except for, I think, Queensland. They're stuck in the dark ages here with WA. And effectively what it is it recognises that people have collector vehicles that they don't drive every day, and there is an existing concession for that, which is Concessional 404. But what that concession is, it's not quite what people are after. First and foremost, you can't modify your vehicle to any sort of way that was other than maybe you put an air conditioner in your car. But if you wanted to, say, put headers and an exhaust on the car, well, that's a no-go. You can't get onto the scheme. So this is recognising a couple of things that people like to modify their cars, and the people that do modify their cars are spending money with the local economy. So there's certainly an advantage there that the government's obviously seeing, because they're starting on this project, this proposal, and they haven't committed to anything yet. They published their first draft of what they were going to propose and left it open for public comment, and the public has made their comments. They're at the stage where they said they've received everyone's comments now, they're corroborating the information, and they're deciding what they want to do with that and what they want to do with the scheme now. They've told everyone publicly as well that they don't want to have to delay this because of COVID-19. They're still aiming to have a concessions for classic scheme implemented by the end of the year, thereabouts, maybe January, February at the latest next year. And sort of hand in hand with that, there's another group of people that are working on a overhaul of the Vehicle Standards Bulletin 14. Now, Vehicle Standards Bulletin 14 is what all vehicle modifications are based on across Australia, and that in hand with the National Code of Practice. Now, the National Code of Practice hasn't been enacted into law or anything like that. It's just a set of guidelines that the regulatory state governments, they can choose to pick and choose, I guess, sections of that National Code of Practice as and what suits their liking. The Department of Transport here in Western Australia has said for a long time that they've wanted to overhaul the Vehicle Standards Bulletin 14 and I guess create their own new code of practice that they want to follow. They've started to do that, and it's caused a little bit of tension, I guess you could say, between the people modifying their vehicles and the department, because it has meant that not everything has been published verbatim on the Department of Transport's website, and the department said, you know, we reserve the right to change our position or our approval at any time. So someone that got approved to have their vehicle modified, they've gone and spent $10, $20, $50, $100, $200,000 on modifying their car, gets signed off by an engineer, it gets approved, all that sort of thing. Take it to Department of Transport. Sorry, no, we've changed our guidelines now. So understandably, that's causing a lot of issues. I wouldn't say a lot. Sorry, it's causing issues amongst a select group of people, and it is a big issue because people are spending, you know, up to or exceeding $250,000 in some cases on these cars, and they're being turned around and they thought, no, sorry, too bad. And there's been misunderstandings on both sides. You know, the government obviously sets out with the best intentions. They want people to be safe. They want people to be responsible, and whether it be a misunderstanding of the type of demographic that's spending this sort of money on their cars, or whether they have statistics that haven't been made public knowledge. It's not perfect. It's causing issues for some people, and it's fair enough. You know, if you get told that you can spend money on a car and it'll be all good, and then you get told, oh, sorry, I know you've spent this money, but now it's not all good anymore because we changed our minds. Understandably, you'd be pretty upset. So there's a group of people that are working on this issue with the Department of Transport, and hopefully, you know, it's been a long process. This has been ongoing for a number of years, and as all things do, they take a long time with the government. So fingers crossed that these guys can work out an acceptable path through the government. Now, the reason I bring these two things up, the Concessions for Classic and Vehicle Standard Bulletin 14, I'm actually going to a meeting tonight on Friday the 12th of June, which is covering all of this information and discussing, you know, what are the next steps, who's working on it, who's doing what, and hopefully, you know, the Department of Transport's open to negotiating with people. They're working with people, and granted, I said it takes a while, but they're open and they're working and things like that. So that's always a good sign. And, you know, I know it's painful at the moment for those of you that are going through this, but don't lose hope just yet. Things are going to happen, and things will work themselves out. Always stay positive and don't lose hope. That's my message here. So this has been another episode of the Show and Shine. I hope you enjoyed it, and I've been working on my intonation and trying not to stutter as much and talking a little bit more from a genuine point of view rather than talking at you. So hopefully, I'll see you again next time.